All right, yes, ma'am.
I wanted to revisit the statement you made about, did you say the water bills were based on 2 million people?
Yeah, our system was built to accommodate as many as 2 million people, and you don't have that many people anymore. So there is still a fixed cost to run the system. And obviously, for just, I'm telling you, sir, I hear you, Andre, great question, but for just drainage alone, that's $155 million. Just that portion of the system. The water department is an $800 million operation.
Wow. Wow.
So,
Say it again?
And the city of Detroit doesn't own it anymore.
Yeah, the city of Detroit owns the Detroit water system, but everything north of 8 Mile is now a part of what they call the Great Lakes Water Authority. So the city of Detroit, yeah, that's exactly right.
And is that what Patrick Ward was trying to get all the time? And
Kevin Orr, the emergency. Who are you thinking about?
Patrick.
Kwame. We're talking
Oh,
about
L. Brooks
Kwame?
Patrick?
Oh.
L. Brooks?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, L. Brooks Patterson.
Yeah, it's all connected. You're absolutely correct. What was your question?
so if you're the only person on your block, as far as the water bill goes, are you only paying your cost, or are you absorbing?
No, you only pay for your
You only
property.
go, okay.
In fact, let me tell you this though, please do me a favor though. If you can get online, go to the Detroit Water and Sewerage website. I promise you, you will be educated. It is a ton of good information there, but we also have a parcel viewer. You can go to our website, type in your address, and you'll see your property. And it will tell you exactly the size of your acreage. You can see how much driveway you have. You can see how much rooftop you have.
Wow.
And you can do the calculation exactly as to what your drainage bill would be.
Wow.
So it's there.
So how would they?
Wait, let me come right back to you, Andre. I'm gonna get.
How do I go about getting this credit for this rain garden and stuff? How does that happen?
Yeah, well, honestly, we're phasing in different classes of customers. So right now we're at like the industrial class of customer. There's a commercial class, an industrial class, a residential class, a faith-based church and nonprofit class. And what you heard in the media was we had started with a lot of churches because we identified these 22,000 properties, and at least 200 of them were churches, right? Who never, many of these churches have purchased like the parking lot, the vacant lots next to there.
Right.
And they paved them over for parking lots, and those parking lots never had a water relationship, right? So now they do. And the church is saying, wait, we'll have no new money. We got the same expenses we've always had, and we're trying to, so what we did was realigned our phase in. So residents, we won't really get to residents until the fall of this year. And after you experience whatever adjustments, that's when you apply for the credits. You'll get the notice. And if you notice, there is a new water bill. It's supposed to be a lot more friendly. It's supposed to tell you how many gallons of water you're flushing. And say it again, Andre.
I say, my water bill learned how to skip rope because it jumped.
I hear you, brother. Yes, ma'am. But let me see if you got more. You got more?
Like you first said, apply for the credit, then you tell me there's not going to be available in September. To me, and I just feel like it's game. Because the bottom line is, if I'm doing all this and I'm saving water, and I've been saving water for 3 years with this rain garden, you gonna give me credit going back to 3 years?
Yeah, I understand your question. What I really want you to do is kind of spend a little time on our website. You can see the different classes of customers as they are being phased in. You will be eligible for credits.
What's the was?
I heard your question. You're right. I did say, I don't think so. We start right now.
That's Karen Knox.
I love her.
President of Eve Garden.
I know she's somebody. I'm glad she's here. But thank you for your questions. Yes, ma'am.
Now, how did the Detroit Water Authority come about, and how did they get control of everything north of 8 Mile?
Yeah, that's you probably followed a lot of this debate during the bankruptcy. A whole bunch of stuff about our life changed during the bankruptcy. If you are a retiree from the city of Detroit, you probably used to have health care that they took away from you. You follow me? It's the same thing. They stripped the city of any oversight. They changed all the rules. City council had no power, no authority. The mayor had no power, no authority.
You say they, who was they?
I'm talking about the Governor Snyder and the emergency manager.
People with the money.
And many of us, many of us fought to reject the emergency manager. We put the issue on the 2012 ballot, said we don't want an emergency manager. Mr. Snyder and the legislature, they reimposed the emergency manager anyway.
Because it
And
didn't
all
get
of that was about control.
It didn't get on the ballot.
Right, I mean-
Snyder put it on the ballot.
That's exactly
They
right.
voted it down. The people voted it down.
We put it on the ballot. The people across the state said no to an emergency manager.
Right.
The governor and the legislature did it. They reimposed it anyway, and that's where all those changes were made.
And we had the opportunity to get involved, didn't do it.
Well, and that's at the heart of it. That's I know that's another conversation about why voting and civic engagement is so important. As discouraging as it might be, you got to stay engaged. You've got to stay engaged. And we got a lot of people who are checking out of the process. And I understand it. I went door to door for the last 20 years. I've been to every neighborhood, knocking on doors, trying to get people to register. And people get to know your name. They say, "Hey, Hester Wheeler, you NAACP guy? You remember I registered 2 years ago, or I registered 4 years ago because you came to my door." But look around you. I am saying we've got to fight for a lot more. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. And I know it's disheartening. I know it's discouraging. But the only way we win is if we fight. We got to fight for jobs and business development. And sometimes we won't ask for the right thing. This is a political year. This is a moment to ask for the right things.
That's right. He's absolutely positively right.
Yes,
We
wow.
have got,
Reverend Banks?
You know, there's a nozzle, I believe a nozzle that you can disconnect that will lower your water bill. You familiar with what I'm talking about?
Not the meter.
No, I'm not talking about the what's up?
I don't
And
know about that.
I wanted the,
I don't know. Go ahead, ask your question. Let me make sure.
the drain, there's a drain spout
Yeah.
that you can disconnect that will help the residents
Yes.
lower their bill. Dr. Wheeler, can you tell the TV audience out
Yes.
there about that?
You're referencing the downspouts that's connected
Downspout,
to
right.
your gutters. Please disconnect all of your downspouts, and the downspouts send water into the drainage system. If you redirect that water into your lawn or into a flower bed, that does in fact decrease the amount of expense associated with drainage or runoff. So I believe that's the question you're asking.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So we got people right here, out here in this TV audience. If you disconnect your downspout, your water bill will be lower.
you got a downspout, which
And I referenced this earlier. I talked about the value. The other value to being disconnected is that you eliminate the likelihood that you ever have a basement backup.
I'm sorry, that's bullcrap.
Really?
My father disconnected because he was in construction 20 years ago. My basement backs up.
From what?
Y'all don't clean them drains, that's why. I live in a corner house. My basement backs up.
So it's
And
Detroit
then,
Water's
by
issue?
the way, when it backed up and doing my brand new dryer, I never got paid for it. You know, y'all had those fill out those papers and stuff.
How long ago was that? How long ago was that?
4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
And
nah.
we never got paid, and the basement still back up, and all my downspouts been disconnected, and my basement still backs up.
But in all fairness, I'm probably better positioned to help address like current events and things going forward. Like if you keep looking in the rearview mirror, I'm probably not the best person to address those. But you're talking about something that happened 4 years ago.
Oh, no, I'm saying, that was when the 4 years ago when my dryer got out. But I'm saying today, and I'm still looking at water coming to my basement now. My downspout has been disconnected.
So if you think that's a Detroit water related issue, then I want you to file a current claim. There are a bunch of residents of our city who live south of Jefferson. Their houses recently flooded, and we did pay everybody.
Dr. Wheeler,
We did. I mean, that's in the last 90 days or so.
I'm gonna ask her a question, Dr.
Yes,
Wheeler.
please.
So you
I see the
connected
sister
your,
back. I see.
then you can take her.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you disconnected your downspout and you don't see any decrease in your water bill. Are you saying that?
Oh, no, I don't. And let me tell you something, when I moved in that house, my water bill used to be $15 every 3 months, and I was complaining. Now, my daddy, like I said, he was in construction. He put cement in those things.
Yeah, in those
20-some
cracks.
years ago.
Yes.
And I said, Dad, why you that? He said, you don't need that.
You don't
Okay. My water bill has, matter of fact, this month it got even bigger, and I'm the only one in there, and I go to school, so I'm not at home. And then what they say, if you something that is staying and all that, I did all that, my water bill did not go down. Okay, so that's why I said bull crap. The bottom line is our bills are getting higher. I don't care how much water that's for. Buy water, don't drink water. Your bills still keep going up. You let it stand, don't flush them, but your water bill's still going up. What is the issue here?
Yeah,
There's something
that's
going on.
that's a fair question. One thing, there are certain things that are likely to be pretty consistent, largely because you're paying for a service to be available, whether you use it. If you go into overdrive, like if you flush 25 times a day versus 5 times a day, you will see an increase. But there is a base rate that you're going to pay every month, regardless, just because the service is available. That's an absolute fact. But if you've got questions, there's probably value in having requesting a new meter. If you think there's an issue going on, something irregular, I'm saying engage the Detroit Water Department.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Do they
Yes, sir.
charge me to come out?
I beg your pardon?
Will they charge me to come out?
No, they don't.
Okay.
But, I don't know. We haven't figured that one out yet. But no, I don't think so. No, I'm not aware of that because we send people out all the time to evaluate meters, and we do send people out all the time to clean up those catch basins. But if you've got a catch basin issue, then you need to make sure you're reporting that pretty aggressively. And honestly, I hate to tell you this, but a lot of neighborhoods, they clean out their catch basins on their own just because they don't want to wait for city government. That doesn't always work. We're trying to get there though. Good question. Yes, ma'am. I see the young lady in the red.
Aren't there some neighborhoods that are, they say this built on a water bed, sort of like, it has a tendency to have a lot of water that's underneath that.
Yeah.
property. Because when I lived over on Somerset, off of Warren, between Warren and Mac, I was always running into my basement flooding.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing, I can't stand it. But, and I kept going after the city about it, and I knew I was doing everything I was supposed to do, so all my things was disconnected
Yes.
and all that. So, after they flooded about the third, fourth time, they came out, and one gentleman said, "Can I see it?" And he came in, he looked at it, went back out. And they had been working on the sewer, but when he went back out, he knew they blew something through that whole sewer system in that area. And when he did it, I knew he did because I heard the water making the noise going down. And at that point, my basement never back.
That issue was resolved.
Yep. And
Yeah.
all that's it's old, and they had to vacuum up, blow it. He had to blow all that stuff out. When
Yeah.
he blew it out, that made way for the water to go down, because I would go out and try to clean. The street would be flooded. You try to move the debris so it could go down. But the minute I moved the debris to go down, it would come right up in my
Yeah. Yeah. You've really highlighted another issue that I'm beginning to learn more about the Detroit Water. First of all, it's a very old system, and I hate to report to you that a lot of our water mains are still made out of wood. So that's just a fact. They're still made out of wood. And if you really look at we call it the topography or the topographical, that's a fancy word for how our city is laid out. So downtown is literally the lowest part of the city. Did you know that? It literally is down. And so most of everything that happens out, the closer you get to 8 Mile, everything flows into downtown. And downtown is the oldest part of the city. That's where you see a lot of the wooden water mains. So there are, and half of downtown from Campus Martius on down, I don't know if you know that the Detroit River used to come up to Campus Martius. So everything south of Campus Martius downtown was built over water. And there are a lot of neighborhoods, like even on the east side, where Maharis Gentry Park, a lot of Connor is built over water. Right. You follow what I'm saying? So you may have had that experience. I don't know all the details about every neighborhood, but there are neighborhoods like New Providence Church. We're having a lot of conversation with them. They're on Southfield, they're on the far west side, Southfield and Plymouth. They're so close to the Rouge River Basin that a lot of the water that hits their parking lot can really be redirected into the Rouge River. You follow me? So depending on where you are, Greater Graces, also, that's 7 Mile and near Telegraph, a lot of the water that hits their property can be redirected into the Rouge River. So we're just trying to educate people about different options based on where you live. So I don't know that exact issue, but sounds like you described something unique.
Are downtown rates much higher?
They're being pounded down. They're screaming too. They're screaming because all the water that hits those buildings and flows from their buildings down to the sidewalk, they're paying for it. Yes, sir.
Okay, so back to this thing about the suburbs. There's some kind of rumor or theory out there that there were some bonds that the suburbs had, and when everything rolled over to the Great Lakes Authority, that's part of the reason why our bills are higher.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that one, Teresa, but you've highlighted a very important question. A lot of what we pay for now really does have to do with some bonds. Every time we've had to build a combined sewer overflow or some extension to the Detroit Water and Sewage Treatment Facility, every time we've had to repair, and then a few bad things have happened along the way where, you know, mistakes have been made and you still pay for mistakes. Am I correct? Or somebody walk away with whatever. So we are in a tough spot. And then we've got some experts who are trying to help us understand what's happening nationally. And unfortunately, Detroit is like the highest in the country. That's a fact.
We pay the highest for everything.
That's a fact. So, and that's the stuff, you know, Andre, I mean, that's the stuff we fought. I think the bill I hate the most that comes to our house is insurance, auto insurance. I think that's a tragedy. And then, you know, then after that is, you know, but so we just got to keep fighting though. If you're going to be in the city, you got to fight for a solution.
I stand with Congressman John Lewis.
Yes, sir. But I'm not aware of, I'm not aware, to your point, I don't know the exact answer as to if or not Detroit is paying for bonds that suburbanites have benefited from. Only to the degree that the Detroit Water and Sewage used to supply water to nearly 120 communities outside of the city. So very often we would have to bond to do those kind of repairs. There's a big sinkhole out in Fraser, Michigan, 15 Mile. You may have seen that on the news. Now, one of the, we talked about Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick, for example, but another brilliant thing that Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick did during his mayoralship was he sold all of that to Fraser because they didn't like having to interact with Detroit Water. So now that's all on them. Detroit has nothing to do with it. That's an example of another good thing. It's huge. And so what we need to pay attention to though, as residents and activists and advocates, let's pay attention to how the state of Michigan provides resources to Fraser versus Flint. Pay attention and make sure your voice is on that issue very diligently. This is why you invited me. You knew all these people would come. No, let's answer every question. I'm gonna give you the best information I have. Go get that.
Quite swiftly on that phrase.
Yeah, you see that?
Versus Flint, and I'm concerned about that as well.
You should be.
Yes.
So with the way that the water bills are going up already, so you're saying there's going to be more hikes coming, and what is the percentage of that? Like how much is that?
Most residential customers won't see hikes for average size property. If you have a large, I think somebody said they had 3 acres. Did you say you had 3 acres, young lady? On 3 lots, okay. Yeah, but the larger property owners will see increases in their drainage fee. You did not experience a fee. Every year, the Board of Water Commissioners takes a look at what the expenses are associated with running the Detroit Water and Sewage Department, and that's how rates are determined. We've improved a lot of efficiencies. We've collected a lot more revenue than we anticipated, and so that's why you saw no rate hikes this year. And for those of you who are experiencing hikes, I'm not fully able to say exactly what that may have been related to, but for the most part, most residents in the city of Detroit have not seen it, especially for their regular water, but you pay for water, sewage, and drainage. You may have something else going on.
Don't the guy that runs the water department make more than there?
How much does the mayor make? I know that used to be the case when Victor Mercado was here. He made more money than,
That might be, he's not racing, going
Yeah.
to give it to him.
he made more money than Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick. I know that was a fact. I think he was way up in the 200s and something. And I don't know the exact answer. I think the mayor makes what, 165? I don't know if the director of water makes that much.
I was heard that he made more than him, and if that's the case, that's why our water is going up. We shouldn't be paying this man all this money.
Yep.
And he's not running this, he can't fix nothing. And the board is backing up, this is ridiculous. People.
But there, in all fairness though, let's take a look at, there are a lot of systems like Toledo and places like that whose water systems are much smaller, and those executives make way more money than the mayor of our city. So I mean, it's very often, I hear you, but I'm telling you what the template is or what the standard is that determines, because the level of expertise required to run a water system requires a certain level of compensation to attract a certain skill set.
Well, that skill set that we have attracted should be fixing the things that's going wrong in the system.
And a lot
If
of,
you sitting up there getting a check, and half the city talking about their water is backing
Yeah.
up, and you saying the infrastructure is old, then what are you doing?
well, I've also articulated a lot of good things that are happening. The whole,
I agree, you have.
a lot of good things are happening. It's not happening fast enough. I don't disagree with you, but the
You told me that I can't get that 3-year credit. Something like that.
Go ahead, Madam President. Yes, ma'am.
Who pays the salary for the Detroit Water Authority?
The Great Lakes Water Authority, they collect their revenue from all those suburban communities beyond 8 Mile. So that's where their revenue and salaries and all of that stuff comes from. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
So when you're fixing, when we having the water main breaks that we're having every 10 seconds every year, that's part of our bill, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's an absolute expense associated.
And that's because they haven't been changed since 18 what?
Forever. But that is a huge issue, but we do have a nice pot of money. No, that's a fact. It's a nice pot of money that you will see being spent to do those repairs. But the fact is, every other day there's a new water main break, and so it's an old system. We're going to be working on it. And then one of the challenges we've lived in city government is it's called kicking the can, where a lot of administrations chose not to deal with an issue because it was so expensive and just pushed it down the road. And one of the things that I like about what's happening inside the Detroit Water is that we really are trying to improve a lot of systems. We're trying to improve that customer service experience. I don't know that we've had community engagement types who really came out and talked to our residents to explain, give you the best information that we have, or tell you how we are committed to try and help you get the answers. Now, you may not always like the answers, but at least we're going to give you the best information we have.
So that last question I have is.
I think I've been on longer than him.
Versus.
How long,
I'm just messing
how
with
long
you.
have you been on? How much time now?
No, I'm
I
fine.
mean, because it just seemed like he's been up an hour, at least. I was gonna say that.
Yeah, I'm fine, Reverend Bates. I'm fine. No, this is a good issue, though. It's a very important issue.
It's great. It's a great show.
Thank you.
though.
Appreciate
I want
it,
to
brother.
get
No, appreciate
incredible
it.
show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Versus the increase.
Not knocking it at all.
No, I'm just messing.
You're a great show,
Thank you.
though. You know?
Versus the increases that we get in light of water. So when the President of the United States says that he's going to address infrastructure, okay, how far down the line is these conversations in light of water infrastructure so that the taxpayers
Yeah.
don't continue to get hit
Yes,
with
sir.
the infrastructure costs?
Well, that opens up a whole nother conversation. Anything relevant to this president,
Yes.
I'm not encouraged. I think Omarosa is his urban affairs, or what's that other guy from Detroit?
Carson.
Yeah, Ben Carson.
Ben Carson.
Who's the director of urban initiatives? So we got to send a note to him and find. I think Betsy DeVos is going to fix our schools, and I'm just teasing. I don't expect much. I don't know what to expect. But I do think we have to keep the pressure on him. I think we have to keep the pressure on him. But here's a reason why I think what you're asking is important, though, Andre. We as hard as many of us work, we really do have to stay. We have to elevate our engagement in the game. We've got to write letters. You know, we've got to send emails. We've got to show up. We've got to make sure our voices are heard. And very often we complain to each other, but we won't put pen to paper.
That's right.
And the pen is mightier than the sword.
That's right.
The pen is mightier than the sword. I saw an article in the newspaper a couple of months ago where they put the pictures of 5 African Americans on the front page and said one of them owes taxes, one of them filed bankruptcy, one of them was in foreclosure, and they were not worthy of sitting on the Downtown Development Authority making $1 million decisions. I don't know, anybody remember saying that by chance? I sent a letter to the editor, and I said I would take a Joe Smith over a Jeff Sessions any day. Because I know what Joe Smith does across this community. I know that he makes contributions to Little League initiatives and to recreation centers. And for you guys to besmirch the character of these African American community contributors, that is unacceptable. And as far as I'm concerned, there are very, very clear cases where our African American leaders cannot be held to the same standard that white folk are being held to. African Americans don't always have access to college experiences the way other people. So if a person is successful anyway, because they've overcome a lot of stuff, you can't say, well, he don't have a PhD. Well, he didn't have the same pathway to a PhD that these folk have. So I'm suggesting if we don't get in the game and correct this foolishness and this inequity that these media types and corporate types are inflicting upon our community, we all lose. So I wound up having breakfast with the head person at the newspaper because of that letter. And guess what the first thing he said? I had a long list of grievances. The first thing he said, we goofed. I'm sorry, that was wrong.
Now, you know,
You hear me?
Yeah.
But had I not and your question is good. You say, did they correct it? He says, we'd like to correct it, but if we go back and bring it up again, then you give life to a lie.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yes, sir, Reverend Banks.
you know,
Reverend Dr. Banks.
thank you so much.
Dr. Banks.
Bishop, you're too kind. You're too kind to me. Don't make me blush on
Yes,
TV
sir.
like this.
Go right ahead.
Okay. You know, hey, I love you dearly.
Yes, sir.
We got a great candidate forum. First of all, what a dynamic show. It just seemed like he was on about 2 hours, though, to be honest. And I'm
feels
like,
like it, too.
no jokes on that.
I can't wait to get a piece of chicken.
Seemed like you were on about 2 hours.
Moses, I think he got mine.
But you will be right back here on March the 31st at the Wow Center,
Yes, sir.
14111 East 7 Mile, because you're running for Detroit City Clerk.
Yes, sir. And let me just say one thing.
You know,
I know this is
what do
not
you bring to the table as a clerk?
Let me just say this. I've been doing that work for most of my years in this city.
Okay.
The city of Chicago, for example, all of their election results are published by 10 p.m. on election night. What's wrong with Detroit? I am suggesting it is time for us to reclaim our voice. I can't go into it. I know this is not a city clerk,
Right.
but we've been doing the work at the NAACP. We get over 1,000. I've chaired the political education committee for the NAACP for the last 6 years, and I was executive director before that. Andre and many of your colleagues have worked with us. We get over 1,000 phone calls on election day. All of those calls should go to the clerk's office, so stay tuned.
Wow, what a dynamic show here today with Hester Wheeler from the Detroit Water Board. Tremendous. Brought us some outstanding resources. He will be right back next month, March the 31st. We will see you next Saturday at 8 p.m. on Comcast Channel 90. I've been your host, Prophet Cedric Banks, along with
Prophetess Danetta Banks.
and along with
Hester Wheeler
from.
I'm Detroit Water, representing Detroit Water this evening. Thank you.
We'll see you next Saturday night.
Thank you.
Outstanding.
Can I get a witness? How many worship Him?